What if Kokushibo didn't become a demon? Would the show be any different? Well, I'm here to tell you that despite the fact that he's only an upper moon, Kokushibo plays a huge role in the fate of the entire series. So much so that I think if he didn't become a demon, there's a possibility that Muzan would have been defeated a long time ago. If you want to know how, you better stick around, because it's gonna get intense. So after reading the manga and fanbook a few times, I've come to the conclusion that there are 3 scenarios that the story could go if Michikatsu refuses to take Muzan's offer. The first one is simply Michikatsu would just die. When Michikatsu first met Muzan, he was with his sword unsheathed, which meant he was ready to fight him. Koyoharo didn't really show what happened that led Muzan to offer him to become a demon, but my guess is that they had a typical anime fight conversation, and Muzan saw the potential in Michikatsu and offered him the chance to become a demon because he wanted, like he said, to make a breath user into a demon. In this scenario, Michikatsu says no, and Muzan just kills him fairly easily. From there, the story is pretty much the same, besides the fact that Doma is the current Upper Moon 1. With that in mind, the Infinity Castle arc looks much better for the Demon Slayers. Because Genya and Muichiro wouldn't die, they can all join forces in order to defeat the upper ranks and Muzan. But this is only one out of the 3 possible scenarios that could happen, and let me tell you, the last one will blow your mind. In scenario number 2, Michikatsu refuses Muzan and is able to escape just in time before Muzan is able to kill him. Angry and demoralized from his weakness, he rushes towards the Demon Slayer headquarters to tell them everything. He asks Yoriichi to join forces with him so they can track down Muzan together, and he agrees. Soon, the fateful night of Yoriichi and Muzan's meeting comes, but Yoriichi is not alone. Michikatsu is there as well. Yoriichi slices Muzan with his 13th form and leaves him shocked on the ground. But as he's about to say a word, Michikatsu screamed at him, "Don't try to reason with this evil man," and begins to slice at Muzan with everything he's got. Muzan is confused and tries to escape, but together, they're able to destroy all the 1,800 pieces that Muzan was dividing into. Muzan is dead. The demons are defeated at last, and Japan's future never seems better. After these events, the Demon Slayer Corps is disassembled, and Tanjiro and the others never become Demon Slayers. They just live their lives without knowing about the life they could have had. But the third scenario is where all the fun happens. It actually starts similar to scenario number 2. Kokushibo is able to escape Muzan and tell the Slayers about his brother. But this time Yoriichi meets Muzan alone and fails to kill him. Yoriichi meets Sumiyoshi and tells him about his life and shows him the sun-breathing technique, but now he's not banned from the Corps. But something much more interesting happens from here on out that changes the show forever. The Tsugikuni brothers are closer than ever, and Yoriichi tells Michikatsu about everything he's been through. Michikatsu still envies Yoriichi's skills, but he uses this envy to push himself further and not go down a dark path like in the original story. But there's one more thing. Knowing that Yoriichi is not the kind of guy that will keep records of himself, and using his deep desire to preserve their family names and breathing techniques, Michikatsu wrote a book and named it Records of the Tsugikuni Family. In this book, he writes everything about breathing styles, sun breathing, his brother, and the Demon Slayer mark, and how to activate it. Moreover, because Michikatsu didn't become a demon, a lot of the things he would have done as a demon didn't happen. He didn't kill a Demon Slayer leader, and he didn't kill any sun breathers. Muzan did kill a lot of sun breathers though, but with the passed down knowledge that Michikatsu left behind, a lot of Demon Slayers tried learning it. Some failed and some succeeded. Eventually, a moon breathing user became a Hashira, and his name is Muichiro Tokido. But in spite the knowledge that was passed down, there was no sun breathing Hashira. Fast forward to the beginning of the show. Tanjiro finds his family killed and Nezuko becomes a demon. Everything is going the same from there. Except the fact that Urokudaki knows that a black sword means a sun-breathing user. He tells that to Tanjiro, and says that after he becomes strong enough to meet the Ubuyashiki family, he should tell them that he's meant to use sun-breathing. After the Mount Nagamoto arc, Tanjiro meets the other Hashira, and after reading the letter from Urokudaki, Kaguya tells Tanjiro that he wants a moment alone with him. He tells him everything he knows, and that he believes that he's the key to defeating Muzan because of his sister, and the fact that he's a natural sun-breathing user. Tanjiro starts training his sun-breathing technique much harder, and all the Hashira accept him because he knew sun-breathing, especially Muichiro, who knew that moon-breathing is the closest thing to sun-breathing that there is. The show will probably have less mystery in it, all the knowledge will be out in the open from here on out, but the action will be much better. Fast forward to the Mugen Train arc. Tanjiro is now much better with his sun-breathing technique, but unfortunately this is not enough to save Rengoku, and Akaza turns him into a donut. Tanjiro visits the Rengoku residence, and this time he knows about the sun-breathing. And just as Shinjiro tries to scold Tanjiro for his sun-breathing, Tanjiro tells him he knows everything, and will do everything it takes to beat Muzan, with a statement that makes Shinjiro stop and think about his actions sooner. Fast forward to the Entertainment District arc. Tanjiro is able to use sun-breathing much more efficiently, so much so that he's able to cut Daki's head off on the rooftop, forcing Gyotaro to come out before Tengen arrives. Confused to see that there are 2 upper moons instead of 1, Tanjiro takes a battle stance, but Gyotaro is faster. And as he's about to poison Tanjiro, Nezuko steps in and takes the blade to her body, saving Tanjiro. The 2 fight Daki and Gyotaro, but Tanjiro is overwhelmed and is about to lose. This is where Tengen arrives and sees that there are 2 demons. Tanjiro explains that for some reason they're both upper ranks, but Gyotaro is probably stronger and the main unit. Thanks to the fact that Tengen didn't get poisoned and Tanjiro being able to use sun-breathing more efficiently, the fight is easier. Tengen takes his time to learn Gyotaro's movements and is able to use his musical score technique much sooner. The battle is very epic, and because Tengen has his arm and eye, he pushes Gyotaro to a corner, paving the way for Tanjiro to slice at him. Tanjiro awakens his Demon Slayer mark the same as the original timeline, but this time, the mark stays on him because he's worthy of using sun-breathing now. Fast forward to the Swordsmith Village arc. Tanjiro is visited by Shinobu to investigate his health and mark, and tells Kaguya that Tanjiro is the first one to awaken his Demon Slayer mark like Michikatsu wrote in his book. And because Tanjiro wasn't in a coma for 2 months, something happens that changes the course of the series forever. They start the Demon Slayer mark training right away. But that's not all. Because they started the mark training right away, the Hashira training arc becomes something much different. So stick around if you want to find out how. Because the information is written clearly in the book of Michikatsu, and they know that the mark appeared after so many years, it's time for them to start training for it. Every Hashira does his best to awaken the mark, and with the help of the book, this is going much smoother. And thanks to that, the Swordsmith Village arc looks much different. Muichiro has his mark now, and defeats Gyoko with the same ease he did as in the original timeline. But this time, he could join the fight against Hantengu. Tanjiro was able to inflict serious damage on the emotion demons, but Sekido still managed to absorb the other emotions and become Zohakuten. Tanjiro, Genya, and Nezuko fight Zohakuten and manage to stay alive, but it's no use. Zohakuten is still on another level. Mitsuri comes to the rescue, and together they fight Zohakuten for a while. As they're fighting, something amazing happens. Tanjiro starts remembering his father's memories when he killed the giant bear. Tanjiro is able to enter the see-through world the same way he did with Akaza. With that new power, he rushes toward Zohakuten with amazing speed and accuracy and cuts his head off with his bright red sword he got from Nezuko. Zohakuten is immobile for a short period of time, and this gives the gang enough time to find Hantengu's fear body. Tanjiro was able to cut off his head just when the sun comes up, and Nezuko was able to conquer the sun all the same. Now, remember how I promised you there was going to be something amazing instead of the Hashira training arc? Well, this time, instead of training for the mark, the Hashira are training in order to enter the see-through world easily, and Tanjiro is the one to help them do it. All the Hashira train to be able to enter the see-through world, and everyone is able to achieve it except Shinobu, who wasn't able to awaken her mark and was ordered to support from the outside in the fight against Muzan. She not only helped Tamayo make the potions to weaken Muzan, she also gave each Hashira enough poison. Oh, did I tell you that Zenitsu and Inosuke awakened their marks as well? Fast forward to the Infinity Castle arc. The fight with Muzan goes much smoother for everyone. Gyomei, Sanemi, Muichiro, and Inosuke fight Doma as Upper Moon 1. They suffer some injuries, but fortunately no one is dead, but they learn about the bright red sword and it helps them in their fight against them. Tanjiro, Giyu, and Genya fight Akaza as Upper Moon 2 and win. The rest of the Infinity Castle arc is pretty much the same. Muzan is weakened because of the drugs, and everyone is fighting in order to keep him until the sun rises. The only difference is that every Hashira awakened their mark and know how to enter the see-through world, which gives them a big advantage and they suffer less losses than the original story. Unfortunately, Mitsuri and Obanai still die from their injuries, and Tanjiro did become a demon, but was reverted back to his human form just in time. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to check out my What If Tanjiro Knew Sun Breathing from the Beginning video.